What are the signs of a good therapist? They don't let you get away with your tricks, attempts at humor, etc. They answer you with questions when appropriate. But that's not their whole shtick. They help you set goals for you to work on until the next appointment. They focus on you, and they don't project everything on themselves. I had a bad therapist once. She seemed very judgmental towards me and never really gave my feelings much consideration. She was quite condescending towards me and never focused on the why behind my actions. Instead just gave me some shallow advice and made me feel uneasy. I saw her for about 6 months and she ghosted me. Haha. My new therapist is a wonderful woman. She allows me the space to talk about anything without judgment, and instead of giving me shallow advice, she lets me explore my thoughts on my own and come to my own conclusions with her guidance. I think the sign of a good therapist is the connection you have with them. You could be with the best therapist in the world and they probably wouldn't be right for you. They don't freak out at what you tell them. And they're not some sheltered bitch named Linda who doesn't have much in her but to tell you that you're too smart and some pop psychology snippets that were tired 15 years ago. Thanks for everyone responding. This is such a complex issue. Was very fortunate to have had excellent therapists at a point in my life when I needed them. They were both from Penn's Center for the Treatment and Study of Anxiety, and if I had to pick one thing, there are several. It'd have to be the team effort-based treatment. The psychiatrist in office and my therapist would meet to discuss my treatment after every session, and would tweak and adjust based on what I was working on during therapy. For example, when we were doing exposure therapy, my therapist would talk to my psychiatrist and ask if I can go on a lower dose, skip on my beta blocker because a part of the therapy requires that I feel some of the anxiety in a controlled fashion. Basically a very direct, instantaneous therapist to psychiatrist communication. I know not all therapist offices have this, but it honestly felt like next-tier fine-tuning of a mental health approach. Other times it was as simple as having a very, very knowledgeable psychologist. I know this won't work for everyone, but I liked getting homework from my therapist. Track your safety behaviors. Create imagined exposure audio notes and listen to them once a week. It was like going to class. And the subject was my brain. Sometimes they'd have a whiteboard up, explaining the way a brain with OCD or GAD work. It was like they were giving me a mini course on the subject of human behavior. They don't try to make you see things from your abuser's side. They don't victim blame. Those things are the opposite of unhelpful and show the therapist doesn't have a good grasp on how abuse, trauma can harm a person. But they do challenge you to question why you feel how you do about experiences, people in your life, so that you can identify and confront those feelings and move forward. For me, it was incessantly craving a hug from her. Every session was so unbelievably cathartic. And I wanted to express how much she meant to me. But that's unprofessional. So instead, I overpaid. Lol. They give you their undivided attention and make you feel at ease to say whatever you wish. Knowing that I can always tell mine absolutely everything about myself no matter how graphic. I don't know. But these are some good qualities suggested by Pete Walker in his book, Complex PTSD. From Surviving to Thriving, in the chapter about finding a good enough therapist. Empathic. Able to model vulnerability themselves. Discerning emotional self-disclosure. Willing to have a dialogue with you. Active listening and validation of your emotions. Well educated on your particular issue. Able to repair rapport with you when it inevitably breaks down. They have been to therapy themselves and have their own issues sorted out. Finding the right therapist for you is important. Someone may be a good therapist and still not be the one you need. I had a therapist once who would forget the names of my sisters. Every session I had to remind her of people I talked about constantly. When I started with my new therapist, she made an effort of remembering everyone. She even drew my family tree in her notepad so she wouldn't forget. In 10 therapy sessions you start to notice things you didn't notice before. Each session you identify something relevant related to your problem. I'm too introverted to see therapists. My parents try make me, I don't talk. They don't shit talk the people in your life with you. No matter how abusive they are, I think it's not acceptable for a therapist to do that. They only have a couple of things they treat, specialize in. They are critical about what you're saying. A good couples therapist will never laugh at your hurts, pick sides or cast judgment. A good therapist can be seen taking notes, making suggestions and remembering details from past sessions. Edit. Spelling. First, they are good at analysis. They tell you to expect it to be difficult, and that people have quit because of it. It really will be one of the hardest things you'll ever do in life. Them being honest up front about it helps immensely to prepare for what's coming.